Welcome to In the Studio on Davis Media Access. I'm Tim Gaffaney. We're going to let you in on a secret today. There's a new spot in Davis to create and enjoy art and music. Described as a place for those who feel disconnected from the established art scene, Secret Spot Davis was originally conceived in August 2023 and officially launched in downtown Davis last month. Here today to fill us in is Toni Rizzo, one of three co-founders, along with Stephanie Peel and Harry Greer of Secret Spot. Welcome, Toni.
Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So, why Davis? And I don't mean that in some self-hating way about Davis, but with your energy, with your vision, we perhaps wouldn't have been surprised if you had set up shop in some more urban setting. What is it about Davis?
Well, both Harry and I grew up here in Davis. We were both born and raised. Stephanie came here for school and didn't leave because it's such a wonderful town. We all love Davis with all our hearts, but we just didn't see enough art spaces for people, especially as a result of the pandemic. I think there are even more people creating and just not enough space. So it felt really necessary because really everywhere deserves to have a really cool art space and an art community that uplifts everyone. So why not Davis?
Great, I love it. Well, so Secret Spot has been described as a place for those who want to make weird art. If I've gotten that correct, what is weird art, and how's that related to your interest in reaching out to those who feel disconnected from the established art scene in Davis?
Yeah, I think weird art is kind of under the umbrella for us, where it's really for people that are kind of outside of the box, outside of the norm, and also for people that aren't really established in the art world as well. I think weird art can look many different ways. A huge part of it is that I think currently, with a lot of established art spaces, they mainly are looking for very wholesome or palatable art. Whereas, in our opinion, there are so many emotions that the human experience encompasses, and you can see that in so many different art forms. And they might make people uncomfortable, they might be thought of as weird or strange, but I think it's really necessary to hold space for all of the different types of art that we see in the world.
Well, I've also heard the space referred to as a place for a collective approach to art. So, could you also say something about that? What do you mean by that? And how is that related to this interest you have in helping launch local artists?
Yeah, so one of the gallery rooms, because we have a shop up front and a lounge for people to come and hang out in and share space, create. So that's a huge way that we like to promote community. But then we also have two gallery rooms, and one of them is all community based. It's usually anywhere from 10 to 15 artists in there. And we kind of think of it as like a raffle where anybody can sign up and everybody will get in at some point or another. So, whether you are 5 or 95, whether you just started painting yesterday or have been painting your whole life, everybody is going to get into that room. And it's a room not only for people to be seen and to have their art enjoyed, but also for the community to come through and witness it because art is more than just the art itself, but it's the connections that we make outside of it.
That's great. And well, and that reminds me of another a beautiful quote I read in one of the sources about how you want to be that foot in the door. You've gotten your foot in the door now, and you want to be that foot in the door for others who are coming along. And that's just beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so hard to get into the art world. I feel like once you get into a gallery, then you're able to continue a little easier because you have something on your resume. But getting the foot in the door is really, really hard. And most galleries that I've talked to recently are booking years in advance. So to be able to be people's first gallery is actually very, very cool.
That's great. Well, music is also part of the offerings at Secret Spot, I believe. Can you tell us something more about that?
Yeah, so music is so huge for us. First of all, both Harry and I are in multiple bands together. And we are just starting to implement more music into the space. I think that's been the part that is a little later to come than the getting the art up and running inside. But we are looking forward to having many a uh, like music event in the back, because we do have a parking lot behind the actual space, and that's also where our studio is. So we want to have lots of live music. Even today, we're having our first ever open jam. So anybody can bring an acoustic instrument and jam for 3 hours together. You can meet other musicians that way as well. We do have a recording studio in our studio as well, but as of right now, that's just for the founders while we figure everything out, because we want to do everything pretty intentionally.
Hmm. Great. And by the way, perhaps I should have asked this up front, but what's behind the name Secret Spot? Where did that come from?
Oh, yeah. So that started when we were applying for the Art About, and we were just a little studio space back here, and we wanted to get on the map. And we realized that we had to have a name for our space. And we had no idea about this studio space. Even Harry and I, having lived here our whole lives, we never knew that there was this little driveway to these studios behind what formerly was the wardrobe. So we were really shocked when we first started renting it, and we were like, it's such a little secret. What is this? And it stuck. We really loved it. I think Harry came up with the name. He's very good at naming things.
That's great. That's great. You mentioned Art About. So, do you have a good relationship with other galleries in town as well?
Oh yeah, we make it a point to make sure that we're all one big network, all working together and sharing resources and communicating with each other. I feel like uh, it's kind of outdated to think of other similar business models in town as competition or anything like that. I think we have this beautiful town with a lot of small business owners, a lot of local businesses, and it's really cool to get to all work together instead.
Hmm. Well, so that leads me something I wanted to ask too about the community and the community support you've had for this. I understand this idea was originally conceived back in August of 23 when the three of you were focused primarily on the art studio part of this, and then it expanded, or it became officially Secret Spot in March of 2024. What sort of community support did you have in this, doing this launch in March of 2024?
So we definitely knew that there were a lot of people that had our back through the whole process. Already, we had been doing the art about for probably about 6 months or something, and there were so many people that loved our space and loved what we were doing. So we definitely had the support there. Financially, Harry and I just put everything we had into it, which was not a whole lot. So we just decided to risk it all, go for it, and we do still have a GoFundMe up right now. So we are always asking for just a little bit of help just to continue to help us launch properly. Because I think most businesses usually have a good amount behind them when they get started, and we just took what we had and went with it.
Mhm. So, as just a reminder, in case it wasn't obvious already, all three of you are artists, and you are now also entrepreneurs. You run a business, but how important was that for you to be artists yourselves in getting this going and staying true to the vision you have in this new sort of commercial enterprise?
Yeah, I think just being in the art world and being professional artists for as many years as we have been, it really gave us a huge glimpse into what the art world is like, because we were a part of it. So we knew all of the difficulties that artists in the community are facing, and that there just aren't as many art spaces as there should be. And especially, spaces where not only people can come and appreciate art, but also create and meet other people. So we saw a lot of that firsthand, and we definitely have a mission statement and a very strong internal compass about where we want to be going and what we want to be doing for the community. And we also actively are trying to talk with the community as much as possible to see what they're wanting, what they're needing, so that everybody feels like they're getting everything they need out of Secret Spot.
That's great. That's great. And speaking of your own artwork, you're sitting in front of one of your own pieces. Can you say anything about what's hanging on the wall there behind you?
This is actually the biggest painting I've done that's not a mural. So it's 4 by 5 feet, and it is, I think, 8 vultures, 8 Egyptian vultures. Yeah, it was a really hardcore piece to work on. Just time and energy wise, it just took a lot out of me, as well as the subject matter is kind of heavy.
Uh-huh. And are all of you in terms of your artwork, because I know you do more than art, you do music as well, but in terms of your artwork, are you painters, all of you? Do you work in different media?
We're mainly painters, but we all kind of dabble in other little things as well. I know that Stephanie's done clay and sculpture. Harry has worked on comic books and tarot cards and things like that. Um, I I've done other things too, but they're not coming to mind. I mainly paint.
Mhm.
Painting is like my number one.
Well, I wanted to ask you about one particular event that I believe you've held already, and I suspect there might be more of these, and that is Art Mania. Can you tell us more about that
Yeah.
very unique event?
Uh-huh. That event was one of the coolest things we've ever done. It was 6 different artists competing in a still life painting competition, but it was with like a pro wrestling twist. So everybody was dressed up in character with their backstory, ready to go. And we had no idea what to expect, how many people would come, what it would be like. But we had, I think, 140 people attend. So it was packed,
Wow.
and we made this silly little ring that all of the artists were in, and everyone was yelling, and it was so much fun. We definitely want to try to get at least 2 more in this year before we make it over to 2025, because it was so fun. It was a good time. Harry was our MC, and he was running around with the microphone. We had a live band that was playing rock music the whole time. People got to bid on the paintings as they were being painted. So yeah, we definitely want to do it again, and I think we're going to go even bigger and better each time.
That's great. Well, I've been speaking with Toni Rizzo. She's one of three co-founders, along with Stephanie Peel and Harry Greer, of Secret Spot in Davis. And by the way, the spot is 117 D Street in Davis. It's open Tuesdays through Thursdays, 12 to 7 p.m., and weekends, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., closed Mondays and Fridays. Good thing you're closed today so we could do this interview on Friday. Uh, for more information, oh, did I get that wrong?
The hours actually changed a couple weeks ago.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we're open, we're actually open Wednesday through Friday from 12 to 7, and then Saturday, Sunday from 11 to 6.
Okay, thank you for that correction. So you're off in some corner of the studio right now for the interview. Thank you. And for more information and the correct hours, because you can't trust me to get those to you, obviously, you can visit Secret Spot's Instagram site, which is secret_spot_Davis. Toni, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. I'm Tim Gaffaney, and you've been watching In the Studio on Davis Media Access.